Gunshots, gunshots, gunshots. Yo, this is the continuation of the Brick Baby joint, right? This continuation of Durk's evil, alleged assassin, how he set up Lil Pab's murder and snitched on Durk after being arrested. I just had my man Michael Not Palmer call in and weigh in. I'm going to shoot this later on unless they give it a problem. If not, it'll be in the members only first. So become a member to get these videos before they're monetized. Let's keep this party going. All right. We got a good one for you today. I'm going to finish this joint up, but let me bring this joint up here so we can knock this out. All right. Now, this is Brick Baby. We know that he's openly said himself that if Lil Durk would have asked, because Lil Durk is his friend, he would have gave up Quando Rondo's information. Number one violation. That's all I'm speaking on is the code. I don't get involved in West Coast politics, but the code is the code across the globe. So you understand. Let's go. All right. Big shout out to Kaz and C-Dog Rolling 60s. That's who informed me on what goes on with the Rolling 60s. And I take their word 100%.
But then his parents would meet some people that would change his family's trajectory forever. While Zaire was in middle school, his parents would meet and build a relationship with Big Meech and Southwest T, the founders of the notorious BMF. Ooh-wee, this took their hustle to a whole new level. Basically, they started with helping BMF expand to the West Coast, but then they were actually invited to live with them in Detroit. This was a financial opportunity of a lifetime, and Zaire's parents would take up on it and flee to Detroit.
Did y'all notice that Brick Baby, aka Zaire's parents, moved to Detroit to work with Southwest T, allegedly? Y'all put in the comments and school me, because I'm watching this for the first time to really learn what's going on, because I've been gone for 26 years. Alright.
Obviously, they would leave the kids back home to be raised by Granny, and this is when life would start to derail for Zaire. Once his parents left, he began to veer towards hanging out with his cousins in the hood, who happened to be notorious Rolling 60s members. And unfortunately, as soon as he was introduced to the lifestyle, he knew that he wanted to be a part of the streets. But because he was only 11 to 12 years old, his cousins refused to put him onto the hood, and as a result, Zaire tried to create his own gangs.
And we started some called Inglewood, California Crip. Me and my best friend, Envelope.
Then, after giving up that idea, he decides to join something else.
From there, I joined a clique called CIP, and it was completely irresistible players. And the police end up documenting this in the gang files as Crips in Progress, CIP. So they changed it from completely irresistible players to Crips in Progress because we was getting into so much shit in the air.
See, that's what I'm saying. The police and the news media is who make the names. Like I mentioned earlier in the part one, Lou Sims and them got the name the Lynch Mob from the media. Lou Sims is going to explain that to you. I'm reading his book. We're going to interview him about that. Make sure you cop his book. I'm getting ready to start showcasing it so you understand. The media is who label these names. Like the media is who labeled the shower posse because they said they showered them with bullets. So the media labeled them the shower posse, and that stuck with them. All right?
Period. So that was really my introduction.
So now as a middle schooler, Zaire is roaming the West LA streets as an unofficial gang member. But then his friend's uncle would find out about this, and things would not be good for them. Well, not in the way you'd think. Instead of being upset that they're in the streets like any responsible adult should, he was just upset that they didn't join his gang.
Uncle Mike, he found out we all was from this clique, And he came over there tripping one day. Like he was bullying. Like this is a big buff grown man. He came over there tripping on this one day. Like I ain't having it. Like y'all either go turn West Boulevard today or this shit over.
So now Zaire is pressured with the ultimatum of joining the West Boulevard Crips. This was like a dream come true, except because he was told to do it, he now did not want to do it. Like, if I'm gonna join somewhere, I'm gonna do it because I want to, not because somebody else is telling me to do it.
I ain't finna be from West Boulevard, because he tried to make me. You know, I was rebellious back then, so I started hanging with the Harlem 30s.
So now after rejecting the West Boulevards, he starts hanging out with the notorious Harlem 30s. He runs with them for a short time, but then his cousins come around and are like, you're either gonna join over there or join us with the 60s.
Like my mom always had a house nearby Slauson, and all my cousins lived on Slauson, so I end up getting put on 60s like my 14th summer, but I always was affiliated.
So
See, that's what I'm saying, right? You got to pick a side. You got to pick a side. Either you're Harlem 30s or you're rolling 60s. Either you're a criminal or you're a civilian. And that's why at the beginning of the joint where he went at it with Charleston White saying he put his bag on his head and this and that, that's not cool. We talking about a gangster beefing with a civilian. That's like oil and water. You know what I mean? It just don't mix. You know? Let's keep this thing moving. All right?
Zaire officially gets put onto the 60s during his 8th grade summer.
I got jumped by all old man. I started one, he was like 19, and I started with like a 30-year-old, and
Damn.
Yeah, I got knocked out.
So now he's officially a Rolling 60s member right before starting out at his private high school. He's known as Zaire Mitchell at school, and on the block he's known as Wild Bill from the Overhills. But somehow amidst his gangbanging, he's able to maintain an above 3.0 average at school and to become the backup point guard. Now you might hear backup point guard and think that he was trash, but nah. You gotta know where he went to school. They were stacked. We'll get into all of that in a second, but the point is that while he's doing all this positive stuff, he's also living the life as a full-time gangbanger.
Yo, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Hit the notification bell, hit the like button, do all that. And I want you to go subscribe at Mecca Audio TV. Please subscribe at Mecca Audio TV just to show some love. It's free. Let's keep it moving. And make sure you become a member because you get to see these videos first while YouTube is rating them to make sure that they monetize. All right?
When he wasn't at his Christian academy, he was knee-deep in very dangerous situations in the set. Specifically, his main expertise was robbing and extorting rappers who come to LA. And that takes us to 2004. June 29th, 2004. It's the weekend of the annual BET Awards in LA, and the Rolling 60s have nothing but extortion on their minds.
You see, that's what I'm saying, right? Hey, yo, I remember when the rappers used to come to the Apollo, they used to pull up at the rooftop, pull up at the Fever. They was food. We sat there waiting on them just so that we could jack them. You know what I mean? So now you got something like the BET Awards where they flying in from all over the globe to come to California, and you got the Rolling 60s youngins out there, and they got one thing on their mind, and that's to get the bag. So now these Jews coming in with their shiny jewelry, and you don't feel like they cut like that, they just rappers, so you make your move because your eye, as we say in Jamaica, is red eye. Red eye mean you see something and I just start itch you and you scratch your eye and you want it. You understand? All right.
In particular, on this day, Zaire and his boys have somebody they want to target. Yep, that's
Jeezy.
right, Jeezy the Snowman, and they desperately want that chain. Why him? Well, simply because he has the shiniest chain they've ever seen.
We've never seen nothing like this. You gotta think, LA, like the real Gotti diamond jewelry, diamond in each link, like this has never been done in LA yet.
You see what I'm saying? Here he comes, right? Here go Jeezy. They see him on TV and the magazines with this chain shining so bright. They looking at the magazine and they like, whoa. You know what I mean? I gotta have that. You know what I can get for that? Let me ride. Let me ride. I was with one of my little homies who's still on the street doing what he gotta do. You know what I mean? We had a club over the weekend. Well, we had a little bar lounge over the weekend. It was a female in there, yo. I mean, she spent her money well. Yo, hold up. The rectum was like this. The waistline was like this. She sat on a chair and it hung off, hold up, like this. You know what I mean? And we sitting there looking, and she had this big ass rock on her finger. So my man tried to holler at her, and she brushed him off. I guess that's because, she figuring, I got a man, I don't need you. You don't see this rock on my finger? But the whole time, my man see the rock on the finger. My man whispered in my ear, he said, yo, you, I know you ain't with it no more. Please, I'm begging you, leave. Why do y'all think he's telling me to leave? Y'all put it in the comments. I'm going to give y'all 3 seconds to put in the comments why my man telling me to leave the club and go home that night or go find another club. Let's ride. My man had his eyes set on that rock on her finger. He looked at me and he said, yo, you know how much I could get for that rock? Her man love her that much, or she turned him out that much that he spent all that money on a rock just for me to have it because I need the bag. She wouldn't talk to him, so he said, yo, let me get in the camera. He said, yo, I'ma rob that. I said, yo, nah, yo, we ain't doing that no more. He said, you straight, man. Let me get this one, man. She tried to play me, and you see the rock on her finger. Let her go get her man to come represent that rock, because I'm taking that home with me tonight and to the pawn shop in the morning. I said, yo, let's ride back.
Rapper's jury is very feasible. Like, if you get you some rapper jury and go to the jeweler, you up a couple $100,000.
You heard that? You get a rapper's jewelry, you up a couple of $100,000. These rappers not thinking of that when they walk in the club, and they mixing amongst gangsters.
Unfortunately for them, they're unable to get a hand on Jeezy at the award show, so now they follow him to the club.
It was so many of us, we pushed the security out the way and rushed the club.
So now Zaire and his boys run in the club and absolutely take it over. In fact, Zaire jumps behind the bar, grabs 2 bottles, and then stands up and clashes them together. Simultaneously, his boys go over to the DJ booth and grab the mic.
Tell the whole club to roll the 60s in here, like, oh, like it's one of them nights.
After doing this, they wiggle over to the section that Jeezy's in, looking to snatch his chain.
We trying to ease our way to Jeezy. We see the snowman. We trying to go do our thing.
But as Jeezy's crew notice what's about to happen, they whip out their Blakes.
They got like a chopper. This is my first time ever seeing like a mini carbon or something. Like, they got a chopper out, like, and we look back, and I just go to shake Jeezy and ooh, yeah, like, what?
Yo, you see what I'm saying? They went to rob Jeezy, but Jeezy came with big meats. They came prepared. They had a chopper. They let them know, don't do it. Don't try it. Let's see how the rest of this played out.
Thankfully, the situation was stopped before it even started. But I say all that to show that at just 16 years old, this is what Zaire was about. And because of his willingness to do anything for the 60s, he was increasing his rank. This is how he earned the name in the set of Shitty or Shitro and the ability to put on new members. Well, in the late summer of 2004, he would bring his first young member to be put on the set. This would be a young friend of his by the name of Eric Holder. Eric was only 14 years old, but already thirsty and ready to put in work in the set. So of course, Zaire brings him to the set, puts him on, and he earns the nickname of Lil Shitty. Big Shitty and Lil Shitty, a duo that would forever make history in the set. So,
yo, could you imagine a name like Little Shitty and Big Shitty? You know what I mean? Y'all talk to me about that. Little Shitty and Big Shitty. Would you want to mess with 2 dudes that's labeled Little Shitty and Big Shitty? All right?
Being a big homie at just 16 years old meant that Zaire had a rider by his side. At first, this meant protecting the trap, which happened to be Zaire's mom's house. This is where you could find a whole lot of money, jewelry, and illicit items inside. So because of Zaire, his mom's house became the hangout spot for the Overhill 60s.
My house was the spot. She had money and shit in the house and a lot of jewelry. So she let all the gangbangers kick it at the house because she had control of us. I had control of my homies, but we was like the security blanket.
Now remember.
See, so you understand, right? When that happened in the hood, it's like, you know, 'cause we ride. We ride. It's like when I started smoking weed, my mother drove down the street and she saw me and the homies sitting on the corner smoking weed. She said, nah, y'all get in the car. You know? I just knew I was going to get cussed out in front of my friends. Mom said, nah. She drove right to the house and took us in the crib and she said, yo, y'all want to smoke, y'all smoking here. Don't smoke out there. You don't need the streets knowing what y'all doing. So you smoke in here, get your head right, and then you go out. And that's the same thing going on with Brick Baby. Mama said, hold up. The rolling 60s, y'all could hang in here. Instead, on the street corners, you got less trouble to get into in the crib than on the street corner because I know that you're going to be a rolling 60s, whether I tell you to or not. Just like my mama knew I was going to smoke weed, whether she told me or not. So she said, smoke in the privacy of your home. So Big Baby Mama was telling them, if you want gangbang, you're too young to be out there on the street flashing you gangbanging, smoking, be a gangbanger in the privacy of our home.
As he's committing felony robberies and hanging out on the block, he's still enrolled in private school and playing on the basketball team.
Okay.
So now it's the fall of 2004, and Zaire's team
Walking
has a
through his
major
history.
season ahead. The team is absolutely stacked as they have a 6'10 D1 center, a 6'7 D1 wing, and the point guard is Devin Williams, who you may know as In the Lab. Well, long story short, they're so good that they have an undefeated season in their league, and they make it to the state championship game in Sacramento.
Undefeated.
Of course, they win the state championship, beating a Bay Area team like LA always does. So on paper, everything in Zaire's life is looking good. A good GPA, winning a state championship, and also getting noticed on the AAU circuit. In fact, he was playing so well that he skipped his senior year of high school to go play at a basketball prep school in Mississippi. Now you'd think that with this great opportunity, Zaire would go into it with a positive mentality. Now that I'm out of state, I'm going to leave the gang stuff behind me and simply focus on basketball. But sadly, for whatever reason, he simply cannot let the street life go. So right after his senior year at the prep school, he catches his first case. As he's riding around Mississippi in a car with no registration, the troopers get behind him. And because he has an illegal weapon in the car, he decides to take him on a chase. So he bends a few blocks, giving him enough time to roll down the window and throw out the clip and then throw out the weapon. So then after getting rid of it, he rolls his window up and then pulls over so they can talk to him.
Hey, y'all, cause you know I like to ride. Let me ride. See the state trooper there, right? Check it out, right? I just paid my man his first 100,000. We taking it back to 87, 88. I just paid my man his first 100,000. I go in the garage, we meet, I give him the money, we get ready to leave. I take a gypsy cab, we drive in the gypsy cab. As soon as I get in the cab, you know me, I owe Jamaican, so we just, fire off some bullet under the bridge. And we gotta drive, right? So when we driving, we on the highway and it's a fence, but we're expecting the fence to open, so the cab driver is racing on the highway with a car that's on the highway trying to get on the highway, but he can't get on the highway because the fence there. So while he's racing, the car going faster, he going faster, but he on the shoulder lane on the side road, and while he going on the joint, it became a hill. We hit the hill like some Starsky and Hutch. Whoop! Went up in the air. Whoop! Went down. When we hit, sparks was everywhere. Right across the street, guess what was there? Y'all put it in the comments. I'm going to give you 3 seconds to put it in the comments. What do you think was there when we done went up the hill and went down? Sparks everywhere. What's right across the street? I know you didn't guess it, but the police station. The police walked right up to the car. The cab driver, African, he let them come search the car. They searched the car. They didn't find nothing. You know what I mean? And, then they went and looked from the front of the car. They seen, a gun allegedly between my legs. So they go in the back seat, pull it out from my legs, charge me with the gun. They look, they see I'm a predicate. I'm looking at 5 to 15. Passenger looking at, 10 months on the barge on Rikers Island. Passenger's mama said, yo, if you need to go to jail, we all lose. If you go to jail, we all still win. You come home, you're good, everything good. You need to take care of us while you in there, take care of you when you come home. And that was the plan. He went and he made the choice with his mother and his mother alone, you know what I mean, to do this. Now, he claims the gun because the same thing, like let's take Lil Durk because we riding. You got a breadwinner like Lil Durk, right? See how we breaking this down? You got a breadwinner like Lil Durk. Getting all that money, he get locked up with 4 other comrades. One of those 4 is supposed to claim that body to free Lil Durk, because if they go in, do life, Lil Durk take care of their family, take care of them while they're in jail, pay for the appeal, and try and get them out of jail. And the bag keeps on rolling. So you never let the connect go down. We got a saying back in the day called protect the connect by all means. I mean, if I'm out with the connect and somebody run up and try and shoot him, I'm going to jump in front of the connect and take that bullet and bust my gun at the same time and hope that that bullet is not going to hit a life changing or demising or artery. And I protected the connect. But you never let the connect go down. So you youngins out there watching this, don't get involved in the street. If you choose to get involved in the street, these are the rules. You understand? You protect the connect at all times. No reason under God's green earth, in the hood, being from the hood, being a criminal that took an oath to be a gangbanger, a criminal, a scammer, or whatever you choose to be, you're supposed to let the connect go down. So somebody in that crew is supposed to sacrifice themselves to get the life sentence and let Durk go home. That sounds crazy to y'all, right? But no, in my world, those are the rules. I might be too powerful for y'all. So let me get back to this video.
Fortunately for him, the officers did see him throw it, so they go around and they end up finding it. At this point, everything he's worked hard for is at jeopardy. He could quickly become a felon. However, because of a technicality in Mississippi law, he gets off with a misdemeanor.
Threw the gun, so they found the gun with no clip. That's a misdemeanor. Because it wasn't like...
Well, while this is going on and he's sitting in a jail cell, he does receive some very good news.
And while I'm there, I get an acceptance letter from Clark Atlanta University.
So now he has the amazing opportunity to play on Clark Atlanta's basketball team and to go to school for free. Well, after presenting this to the court, the judge thankfully allows him to get out of jail just 2 days before orientation.
What day do you start orientation? He let me out 2 days before orientation, so I couldn't do no gang banging or nothing.
This was a close call, but thankfully they let him off easy and he's able to now focus on, well, is he? Oh, hell nah. You'd think that catching that case would scare him straight. Like,
yo, this is Smart Wars for those of y'all don't know. Go to Smart Wars and check them out.
Now I'm gonna focus on basketball in school and definitely stay out of trouble. But nope, Zaire's entrance to Atlanta would be quite the opposite. As soon as he touches down in the city, he links up with his Rolling 60s cousins who now run with BMF. So while his classmates are sleeping in the dorms and kicking it on campus, he's with Big Meech at the club and sleeping in his mansion as well.
So I'm the youngest little dude, you know what I'm saying? Young in the club, 17, 18. I'm with Meech and them though.
And as soon as he was introduced to their lifestyle, he fell in love with it and was willing to do anything to impress Big Meech, including trapping and moving weight while being a full-time college student. So just like that, an 18-year-old Zaire is risking his freedom once again. And unfortunately, during his second semester, it would all catch up to him. While heading down the interstate with 75 pounds in his car, a Georgia State trooper gets behind him. He throws some of the bags out of the window, but unfortunately they catch up to him before he can get rid of it all. And just like that, Zaire is arrested and is facing a serious Class A felony. While enrolled as a college student, he's now facing up to 8 years in prison. At this moment, everything he's ever worked for is now way out of the window. They caught him red-handed with serious weight, and he's going to be sitting in prison for quite some time. Well, long story short, he pleads guilty to the felony, and now his future is at the hands of a judge. Somehow he gets another lenient judge who sentences him to
4 months in jail, 10 years probation.
Receiving only 4 months for 75 pounds is very strange, especially in the South. On top of this, during this exact time, BMF was taken down and all of them got 15 to 20 years.
With 4 new big arrests, Atlanta police believe they have just about shut down the so-called Black Mafia family. And as our Julia Harding reports, these suspects were hiding out in one of the city's most popular areas.
Anyone tied to BMF typically has an extensive criminal history, so we consider them to be very violent.
Federal agents seized this limo with secret compartments that had almost $1 million hidden in inside, an organization that at one time claimed to rule Atlanta. Now agents say that's no longer the case.
So now with all of BMF arrested, Zaire just threw his life away for nothing. You started trapping to impress them, and now you'll probably never see them again. So now that he doesn't have a school to go to or a crew to hang out with, he only has a choice but to return back to Los Angeles. So right after his release from Fulton County Jail, he makes his glorious return to the wicked, overhill Los Angeles streets. It's now the fall of 2006, and Zaire is back to ground one, hanging out with his 60s homies in the hood. He's now just another failed high school athlete who's back in the hood doing absolutely nothing. We all know some of those, don't we? But not only is he doing nothing productive, he's also in the process of risking his life every single day. Why, you might be wondering? Well, because while he was in Atlanta, his little homie Eric Holder was causing havoc in the streets. So upon Zaire's return to LA, he was putting his life in immediate risk. It's an early October afternoon, and Zaire and Eric are rolling through the set headed to their local corner store. Zaire has his shirt off and a blick sitting in his lap as they get to the store. So when Eric parks the car, Zaire hops out and puts his blick under his seat. He then reaches for the back door so he can grab his hoodie and put it on. But that's when he's met with a barrage of gunfire. Shots are flying from all the way across the street, but somehow Zaire is hitting his shoulder. It then ricochets and hits him in his neck, which completely shatters his back. So now he's laying on the floor and can't move anything under his waist. Thankfully, that's when Eric runs around to him, picks him up, and ties him down in the front seat. He then runs around to his side of the car, hops in, and speeds away to the hospital.
Now, that's gangster. His man hit, instead of panicking, he jumped out, grabbed him, put him in a joint, put the seatbelt on, and now we racing to the hospital.
They ended up taking me, my boy was panicking, driving 100 miles per hour. I'm like, man, slow down, because I didn't have no feelings, so my neck I'm like, bro.
Thankfully, he ends up surviving after making it to the hospital, but that's when the doctors give him devastating news.
Like, I was in the bed, like when I first got shot, and he was rubbing the bottom of my feet. So what happened, my nerves were shattered. I had fractured my neck. I'm telling them, like, I could feel you rubbing my foot. He like, no, you can't. You're paralyzed. You'll be, he's like a Middle Eastern dude. You'll be paralyzed forever. You'll never walk again. I'm like, bro, I just felt you rub my feet. He's like, you want to feel me rubbing your feet? I'm like, what the f***?
Only
So
God
for 6
knows.
months, he lays in a hospital bed thinking that he'll be in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. A whole lot of time to lay there and think about all of his wasted potential. So now he's pissed off at his rivals and he tells Eric to go put in work. So from what we know, Eric Holder immediately hit the streets and started knocking down rivals. So not only did he save his life, but he also allegedly eliminated those who did this to his friend. Eric's loyalty to Zaire was unparalleled. He was basically forever indebted to his life. Well, after months of being angry in a hospital bed, a miracle comes out of nowhere.
We sitting inside the hospital, we watching TV, and I just move my legs up, like, and she like, what the f*** are you doing? I'm like, I was like, oh shit, I was trying to get comfortable, and my legs just moved. She like, what the fuck? Like, oh, she ran and got the nurse. Went to rehab, physical therapy after that for like 4 months.
Somehow, after 6 months, he's able to fully recover and get back on his feet. And after his full recovery, he would smartly get out of the LA streets and head back to Atlanta. Now, you may be thinking that this was his wake-up call to get out of the streets, but
Nope.
this wasn't the case at all. Instead, he heads back to Atlanta with a serious mission in mind, and he brings Eric with him.
Did y'all know this?
Basically, he wants to become the king of the streets, the powerful leader of the Georgia Rolling 60s. At this time, and really still to this day, the streets in the South had absolutely zero structure. Nobody listened or followed orders from anyone, and it was pretty much every man for himself. No certified OGs, DPs, put-ons, none of that. So essentially what Zaire was trying to do was bring the Los Angeles way to Georgia, where he could have people under him and serving anything he wanted. So in order to do this, he hit the streets hard and recruited new members, guys who were under him and who would do anything he said. And in the process, believe it or not, they took over some serious hoods, and this is how Zaire truly made his name in Atlanta. From the notorious Four Seasons apartments, the West End, and a Southside hood known as Shady Park. Well, in the process of expanding the set, Zaire unfortunately brought some havoc to the streets. In typical LA fashion, he began robbing and extorting rappers, a trend that Atlanta had never seen before.
No, that's somebody I robbed that was Gucci best friend.
This is how he becomes known for robbing in Atlanta, somebody that you'd rather have on your side than against you. So he's basically extorting people for friendships, but on the flip side, he's also pretty intelligent. After befriending a local rolling 60 by the name of Pee Wee Longway, he ends up running his bag up like never before.
Pee Wee
If you're
Longway.
unfamiliar, Pee Wee was a very well-known hustler in the streets of Atlanta, known for running up millions. And because of this, he had connections to the up-and-coming and major rappers in Atlanta.
I met everybody through Pee Wee Longway. That's my brother. That's like my brother-in-law.
As they were constantly in studios and surrounded by rappers, they decided to join together and to start a music label. This would be known as Money, Piles, and Ammo, also known as MPA.
Okay, so you guys started rolling together and you guys start MPA together.
We around it so much. Let's pay for some studio time, shoot a couple videos. Let's just see where this goes.
Unfortunately, they had no idea how to properly run a business, but aside from that, Zaire had a special ear for talent. In fact, he discovered Young Thug in 2008 and actually started managing his career early on. Without having him signed to any sort of paperwork, Zaire had him in the studio and was also introducing him to some bigger names. In fact, in 2009, he even brought him to LA to try to get him in the studio with Nipsey Hussle.
Yo, that's deep. I didn't know that. Did y'all know that? That Brick Baby had a hand in Young Thug's career. Young Thug, get a round of applause. I love the way he sat there and handled that as a man. Gunshots to anyone that don't like that. Get off my channel, you rat bastards. Let's go.
I started showing him the game with what's going on the West Coast too.
Right.
You know, I took him in front of Nip in like 09 and told him to work with him. And Nip was like iffy. Thug was slime then. He was real like, you know what I'm saying? He was out here robbing, doing all, you know, regular hood. So
The point is that he was helping out Atlanta artists and he had a really good ear for talent. So not only does he have a potentially major label at his hands, but he's also doing pretty well financially. In fact, in 2009, he copped a nice condo in Sandy Springs, a fly whip, and you know, he was just doing his thing. Once again, things are truly looking good for him, but sadly, this is when he's met with some terrible luck. October 22nd, 2009. It's a Thursday night in North Atlanta and Zaire is headed down Interstate 19 headed towards downtown. As he's cruising down, a Georgia State Patrol gets behind him and runs his tags. Unfortunately, he never registered the car, so the officer hits the cherries.
Ah shit, here we go again.
Zaire knows that he's riding dirty as a convicted felon, so he smashes on the pedal. Now he's on a high-speed chase cutting in and out of traffic in Buckhead, and then skirt, he smashes into a pole. Just like that, the officers are able to pull him out of the car and they find weapons inside. This time, it's no joke, as he's facing 4 separate felonies. So already being a convicted felon, he's looking at up to 12 years in prison. But somehow, once again, Zaire is able to completely avoid prison and only get a few months in jail. What? A convicted felon and documented Rolling 60s Crip only gets a few months in jail for 4 separate felonies. That makes no sense in my mind. Well, once again he gets off easy and he's right back on the streets in early 2010. But not for long. On July 28th, 2010, he would have another high-speed chase while on probation. And yet again, he's caught with a weapon and facing 10 years in prison. But mysteriously, the judge lets him off easy and he only does 18 months. Now before you call him a snitch or an informant, do understand that this is Fulton County, which is a complete joke. Well, regardless, it's now 2012 and the MPA boss returns to the streets. While he was away, Pee Wee Longway was able to discover young rappers Lil Durk, Rich Homie Quan, and a group called the Migos.
Rich Homie Quan before he came out. I'm hearing 21 Savage before he came out.
So as soon as Zaire got out of prison, he was connected with them and actually started helping their careers. Not only did he pay for their studio time and connect them with rappers, but he also provided them with protection. Durk being an outsider from Chicago and the Migos being suburban wannabes, they both both could use some protection. But most importantly, the biggest thing he provided was protection whenever the rappers went to LA. In fact, he even brought Future to LA for the very first time.
You know what I'm saying? I've been that person, like bringing them out here. Like I had Future, I turned LA on the Future. I was listening to Dirty Sprite 1. You know, I brought them out here to do a song with Nip.
Essentially, he was every rapper's connection whenever they'd go to LA. He was the first and only call. Remember this, because it will be very important. Well, as we know, everyone around him and Pee-wee was getting rich and famous during this period. And after a while, they got kind of tired of being the guys in the background, and they wanted to try rapping for themselves. So Zaire would become MPA Shitro or MPA Brick Baby, and Pee-wee was still Pee-wee Longway. Early on, things were looking bright for the duo, as they had the help of Durk, Future, Young Thug, Gucci Mane, and more. Basically, because of everything they had done for them, if they ever needed a feature, it was done right away. But then, unfortunately, as things are going up for Brick Baby, he catches another felon in possession charge in Los Angeles. And this time he's sentenced to 3 years in prison. As he's sitting in a lonely prison cell, everyone around him is getting rich and famous. Young Thug signs with Birdman and blows up, Future blows up, Lil Durk blows up, Rich Homie Quan blows up, Pee-wee Longway blows up, well, kind of, but you get the point. Oh, and don't forget that the Migos get a feature with Drake, and they're out of here as well. So literally everyone who was with him in Atlanta completely blow up and get nationally famous. All while Zaire Brick Baby is sitting in a California prison with no fame or nothing. Damn, that would shatter any man's ego. Don't act like it wouldn't. But on the flip side, because they're all rich and famous now, he assumes that once he gets out, they'll definitely put him on. So 3 long years go by and Brick Baby is finally released. It's 2015 and Brick Baby is finally home expecting a warm welcome. But as soon as he touches down, a harsh reality kicks in. These guys are not your real friends. Aside from Thug, Pee-wee, and Durk, his friends were not there to help him out and pretty much wanted nothing to do with him.
See, that's the same thing, right? So y'all understand, can we ride? When I had Club 2000, I started everybody and they mama came through Club 2000. Fat Joe, Nas, Mary J. Blige, Father MC, Jodeci, Naughty by Nature, Geronimo, you know, I Need a Gangster Beat, I Need a Gangster Beat. All of that came through Club 2000. Andre Harrell, you know, Diddy, Russell Simmons. All of them was at Club 2000, and I catered to all of their entertainment needs. And when I came home by myself and had to start a YouTube channel. But I'm not mad at nobody because I'm giving good content. I'm giving good jewels. Cash App is on the screen. Make sure you hit the icon and say it was created in 2020 to show some love. But Brick Baby just experienced what unique Mecca audio experienced after coming home after 26 years and putting all these dudes on their first stages to perform in front of my audience. And I come home and nobody throw a dude $1. Let's keep it moving. That's why I say it's not worth it in the street. Because you could be loyal all you want, but that don't mean they're going to be loyal to you. Like my mom always told me, you could love someone, you could be someone's friend all you want, but that don't mean they're going to love you back, or that don't mean that they're going to be your friend. Cash App is on the screen. Hit the icon, make sure it's Save Created 2020. See how I promote? All right.
You know, you told me earlier that you've been cut off. People cut you off or something of that sort.
My industry friends that I thought was my friends now. Free YSL, Gunna, Slime. Y'all did, you know what I'm saying? You already know, we ain't even got to talk long way.
Are we speaking
Dirk.
like
After everything he did for some of his friends in the industry, he really took it hard.
If it was broke, we could go through DMs, or when you was up and coming, we could do that. I just feel like they wanted to be around me when they was broke because they didn't have nothing. So now you a millionaire now, you don't want that type of pressure around. But you think I'm gonna turn that energy on you? You my boy, I love you. I wouldn't give a fuck if you had $1 or $1 billion. I'm gonna treat you the same way.
Stop. Gunshots. But yet you said you would turn one of your rolling 60s comrades in for a friend when your allegiance is supposed to be to your rolling 60s comrade. Contradictory. I'm just here to point these out, not to make any decisions. I'm enjoying this and I'm respecting his gangster all the way up until there. Subscribe at Mecca Audio TV. It's a whole nother channel I got. Go to Mecca Audio TV and YouTube. Show some love. Follow me on Instagram and hit the icon here, Unique Mecca Audio. Let's keep it going. But the object is to blow up Mecca Audio TV. Go on over there. All right.
Brick Baby was now a peon or an afterthought to many people he helped out, and this truly hurt his ego. Now, instead of being the guy who helps out rappers and protects them, he reverts to being the guy who wants to rob them. Don't come to LA. Unless your name is Durk, Thug, or Pee Wee, you better tuck your tail.
You see what I'm saying? This is where we at, Rock. You help someone get up, they get up, and they forget who helped them get up. And that's why when they fall down, like Diddy fell down, so many is turning their backs against him. Let's go.
So as the streets tell it, Brick Baby becomes the biggest chain collector in LA. Basically, he had his young Rolling 60s members doing serious homework in the streets. This included having them sit at the airport for rappers to come to town and then following their cars back to their hotel. Then they'd relay all of this information back to Brick and he'd do with it what he pleased. So basically, without them knowing, rappers were being tracked by Brick Baby the second they stepped foot in LA. Then he and the Rolling 60s would wait for the perfect opportunity to strike, and then they'd get up on him and give me everything you got. So just like that, he went from being known as the helpful guy in the industry
to the boogeyman.
And because of this reputation, he would be featured on YG's notorious song, Don't Come to LA. Don't come to LA, raffles for their jewelry. Bro, LA is so corny, bro. But anyways, as the YG feature would help his recognition,
Stop
he
that.
was
Don't
still
agree
hurting
with that. I
financially.
don't agree with that.
How I know this? Well, he was now 29 years old and still taking penitentiary chances. And that takes us to September 21st, 2017. It's an early Thursday afternoon on the west side of LA, and Brick and two Rolling 60s members are masking up for a lick. In particular, they aim to hit a high-end jewelry store in the wealthy Marina Del Rey. So at 1 p.m., they arrive in front of the store in a gray Range Rover SUV. Then they quickly hop out of the car and run inside the store with bags. Once they're able to secure a few expensive items, they run out of the store and hop back in the Range Rover. Brick then quickly speeds away, not realizing that LAPD are already behind him. After bending a few blocks, he hears the sirens and knows they're in trouble. So he instantly punches the gas and busts a left down a residential road. This is when he finally realizes that it's a dead-end street. So now he has no choice but to stop the car and run inside a nearby apartment. While he barricades himself in the lobby, police completely surround the area. And from here, a 6-hour standoff begins. Brick Baby in the 60s versus LAPD. Finally, at 7:30 p.m., Brick Baby surrenders.
Misunderstanding tonight, or was it justified? A local rapper arrested after a tense standoff with officers in Marina Del Rey, but his family says police got the wrong guy. NBC4's Beverly White just spoke with his family and police. Beverly.
That's right, Chuck. LAPD says it started with a 20-minute pursuit this afternoon of a man traveling in a silver Range Rover, and it ended when he ducked into this apartment building in the 13,900 block of Pan A Way. That music video from YouTube is of local rap artist Brick Baby, the 29-year-old now in LAPD custody after a standoff in Marina Del Rey, identified by his mother, who declined to give her name.
The already 3-time felon is facing 2 more of them things. Because of his history and the severity of the charges, he's facing up to 15 years in prison. Definitely nothing to scoff at. Of course, his family doesn't want to see him go away for a long time. And because of this, they go on the news and blame everything on his co-defendant. His mom goes on the news and says, "My son didn't rob anyone. In fact, he doesn't even own a gun." And get ready for this one. His friend is actually the one who robbed the store, and Brick only drove him away because of adrenaline. So she evidently threw his co-defendant under the bus. And I don't know, is this snitching? It's his mom, but...
Yep.
Yeah,
Moms
snitching,
know
right?
what he into. Moms
Well,
shouldn't
long
have got
story short,
involved.
Brick
No
is let off
disrespect.
easy again as he's sentenced to 4 years in prison. And even though this isn't that much time, with 4 felonies on his record, what is he gonna do for the rest of his life? Obviously, this is a harsh reality for a guy in his 30s.
Yo, say stop. Cause we gotta ride, damn it. Yo, just so y'all understand, right? Cause I don't pick sides, I just give the rules. If your mother snitch, your brother snitch, your pet monkey Bubbles snitch, you know what I mean? It's still snitching, even though they're civilians and Bubbles never robbed the bank. But you can't tell on somebody that's in the street to save someone that you love that's in the street. They made the choice to go on the street. When they tied up, kidnapped, and pistol whipped my lovely mother, my mother knew she couldn't say, oh, they robbed me. She was a civilian. She could have said that. But she knew that was a violation from where her son stand. That put her in that situation by getting a bag illegally and attracting the attention of the wolves on the street that tried to get the bag out of her. But moms couldn't say, oh, you know, they robbed me because they came in the house and they did this and that. No, Mom. You know, I didn't have to explain this to her. She knew what it was. So yes, Brick Baby's mom's was wrong. I'm going to say that because my mama didn't even tell when she was kidnapped, pistol whipped, and was the victim of a crime. Once your son is the victim and you throw his comrade under the bus to free him, not good. Don't get in the street. Don't go out there. If you don't agree with what I'm saying, you're on the right track. Stop it.
But sadly, during his prison stay, things get even worse.
The music world is mourning Grammy-nominated rapper Nipsey Hussle, who was killed in a shooting in Los Angeles. Hussle was shot multiple times yesterday in a parking lot outside his clothing store.
What he meant to the community, if you want to look around right now, every single person that's out here spending their time here, they're here because he spoke to them in some way, he inspired them in some way, they related to him in some way.
He meant a lot. He meant everything to the community. You know, he was an entrepreneur. He was employing people. He loved his community. He was encouraging them and empowering them to be more, to do more with their lives. And so that's why we're hurt today.
The city of LA, and more specifically the Rolling 60s, lost a legend, and unfortunately, Brick Baby would learn from a prison cell.
Rest in peace,
I'm playing poker in the day room. So I'm playing poker, and a dude from Blackstone come over from Jungles. He come over like, shitty blood, like they killed Nip. I'm like, stop playing with the set. Immediately, I'm like, stop playing, bro. I get on the phone, I'm like, hey, what they talking about with Nip? They like, yeah. He just got killed. And I'm like, huh? How did somebody come into the parking lot and kill bro? Like, he supposed to be untouchable in this parking lot. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Brick is completely devastated and confused, and it gets even worse when he finds out who did it. His lil homie Eric Holder, the one who saved his life and put in work when he was paralyzed. And once he heard the story of how it transpired, this is what hurt him the most. Basically, he was with his girlfriend and he walked up to Nipsey in front of his store. And when he goes to dap him up, Nipsey refuses to shake his hand and calls him a rat. This is a major violation in the LA street code. You do not call someone a rat without paperwork, and especially not in front of their girl.
See, that's what y'all gotta understand, right? Y'all be on this YouTube and you call everybody a rat. This was a rat, that one a rat, everybody's a rat, you know? But when they catch you and body you, God forbid, when they body you, your family got no reason to mourn because you put yourself in that situation by calling a man a rat with no paperwork. And it's not picking sides, not saying nothing against Nipsey. Nipsey stand on morals. Dude ain't no good, so he told him straight up, you's a rat. But right there, he should have been surrounded by his people to expect anything that come after that, because that's why you call him a rat, because you don't know what they're capable of, and they're sneaky little rodents. That's all I'm going to say about that.
So Eric, being one of the only actual steppers from the Rolling 60s, he feels completely played and wants to do something to Nipsey. So long story short, he goes to his car, grabs his blick, and walks back to the block. Then in front of an entire crowd of Rolling 60s members, he walks right up to Nipsey and lets him have it.
You know, see, that's because it hurt a man that is a stand-up man to his heart when someone labels him a rat. So when you do that, watch your back. Watch your head. That's why I say don't get involved in the street.
After emptying his clip, he simply walks away as Nipsey's friends are frozen in shock. And because of how quickly and emotionally this happened, Brick realizes that if he was there, he could have calmed down Eric and made everything okay.
Now, I get wind that it's cuz, I'm like, oh, cuz. I'm like, man, I'm just like, man, how one of my close friends killed my other close friend while I was in jail. So you always think like, damn, if I was on the streets, could I have stopped it? I probably could have took him to go smoke and slide, and we could have went somewhere that would never happen.
How Eric Holder was able to do this in front of all those people is beyond me, but it is California at the end of the day. And on top of this, instead of going by their own code and holding court in the streets, they decided to testify against him in court. What I've now learned doing this for a few years is that all of these LA street codes that they all say they abide by are pretty much never enforced. Or at least they pick and choose who they want to enforce them on. And on
Yo, we don't agree with none of that, what he just said over here. Unique Mecca Audio, let me take that off the board. Because I know real LA gangbangers that no. They stand on the code, they stand on the morals, they stand on the principles, and they're loyal. Again, a round of applause and big shout out to C-Dog and Cash, two of my comrades to my heart. You know, that's not the LA I know that they talking about. You know, no disrespect. This is Swamp Stories. Get them the beef. You know, call me ratting. But no, I'm just informing you that this is Swamp Stories, you know, opinion. My opinion of LA is they stand up men just like the rest of us. But of course, just like we got weak dudes over here on the East Coast, New York, DC, Georgia, wherever, Virginia, you got weak dudes in the West. But you don't put that on everybody, so I'm not going to stamp that Swamp Stories just said. We're going to get off of that, and we're going to get that straight. I know gangsters out of California that stand on the code that help me down.
top of this, they're always contradicting themselves. But
Stop
either
it.
way, we move on to another rapper loss that involves the Rolling 60s. And that takes us right back to Atlanta, Georgia. As we all know, in the summer of 2020, Chicago rapper King Von would start an internet beef with Baton Rouge's NBA YoungBoy. I guess it started over a girl, but for the sake of the video, the details don't really matter. Well, because of YoungBoy's close friendship with Rolling 60s rapper Quando Rondo, he was implicated in the beef as well. So for months, Von would instigate the beef and they would go back and forth online. Then eventually, Von would take the internet beef to the streets. On the night of November 6, 2020, Quando Rondo and his friend Lil Tim would be at a lounge in Atlanta. Von, who now happened to be living in Atlanta as well, would get word of this and he would pull up to the lounge. So while Lil Tim is sitting in the Escalade and Quando Rondo is standing outside, King Von would pull up on him and start whooping his ass. As soon as Tim sees what's going on and Quando's on the ground surrounded by the Chicago goons, he lets off.
That's what happened when you're in the streets and you got a loyal soldier with you. So if you don't want none of this to come upon you, don't get involved in the street. It's that simple. That's why this young man beat it in court, because there's some things that's just law, man.
Atlanta police say 2 people are dead after an officer-involved shooting here on Trinity Avenue in downtown.
As dawn turned to daylight, you could make out dozens of evidence markers. GBI crime scene investigators combing the scene.
It hurt us. It hurt us a lot. I cried. Some of my friends cried. He had a big influence on us. a really big influence.
Obviously, this was a monumental moment in rap history as one artist lost his life to another. And unfortunately, everyone in the industry and the streets started picking sides. You're either on Von and Lil Durk's side, or you're on Quando and Youngboy's side. There's no in between. Well, despite the fact that Von initiated all of this, and Quando's side arguably did nothing wrong, everyone was choosing Durk's side. This was so big that even Spotify and Apple Music are accused of taking Durk's side and blackballing Quando and Youngboy.
He literally told me, he said, Apple blackballing Quando. He said, I talked to the people at Spotify, because you know Quando was signed to me. He said, they say they can't put him on so-and-so. It was either Apple or Spotify that said, we can't put him on so-and-so because the other guy don't with him and he ain't gonna with us. So basically he was saying that Durk either told Spotify or Apple that, yo, if y'all with that guy, I ain't gonna with y'all. So basically they were picking sides, right?
All the guys who always talk about the street code, the street code, the street code. Well, I guess it doesn't apply to this situation. King Von and his crew initiated the beef and Lil Tim stood up for his friend. What goes against the street code at all? But like I said with the streets...
Hold on. No disrespect to Swamp Stories, right? What goes against the street code, right? Is bottom line is your comrade lost his life, right or wrong, you avenge your comrade's life. That's the street code. It don't matter if he was right or wrong. If he was wrong, he was right. And that's the rules of the street. If you don't like the rules, don't get involved in the street. Come on, man. This is a gangster channel. Matter of fact, you just get off my channel, man. And don't even cop my book. I don't even want you on my channel because y'all don't understand this.
Picking and choosing what's okay, because Von and Durk were the popular artists, everyone went against
Quando and Tim.
The game ain't acting like they're picking favorites, not standing on how the streets normally supposed to treat that. You're supposed to treat that as, it is what it is.
Now, of course, this is all the industry, so let's go back to the real streets. And when I say real streets, I'm talking about Brick Baby. All of this went down while Brick Baby was in prison about a year before his release. Regardless though, upon his release, a lot of people were curious where his loyalties would lie. Are you loyal to your buddy Durk or to the Rolling 60s, specifically the set that you brought to Georgia? Now, according to the LA street codes, you're never supposed to go against your own gang.
Never.
At that point, what's the point of even being in it? When you're constantly talking about on 6-0 and on hood and riding and being loyal for the set, there's no way you can cross your own flag.
Never.
However, when it comes to your millionaire friend, all of that goes out the window.
Never.
Right after his prison release, Brick Baby goes on No Jumper and lets the world know where he stands.
You know what I'm saying? Like Quando Rondo.
You're not with him.
Boy, stop.
Well, that's gotta be weird for you because you with Durk so much.
It ain't weird for me.
Yeah.
It ain't weird for me at all. You know what I'm saying? You're not from Rolling 60s.
Oh, really?
You're not from LA Rolling 60s. You're not from Rolling 60s.
Oh, really?
You're not from LA Rolling 60s. You're not from Rolling 60s.
Wait. Whoa. Like she said, wait. You're limiting the Rolling 60s by saying you got to be from LA to be a Rolling 60s when Quando Rondo put his life in your hands and felt that you was a Rolling 60s and you was going to protect them under the same street code that Unique Mecca Audio knows exists from Big Kaz and C-Dog. And I keep saying their names because these is reputable men. Stop it. You know what I mean? That's like when let's ride. This video getting too long, but I'm going to ride because, what the heck. Now, when I was out west, you had the Bloods that came from the East Coast to the West Coast, and the West Coast Bloods was sending the little young East Coast Bloods to go do mission, and the little East Coast Bloods, they had dates to go home, but the California, youngins that was on their level, they didn't have dates, but yet they sending the East Coast Bloods to go put in the work to run their time up when the LA Bloods already have a lot of time. So I know how it works when you're not from there. But let me tell y'all this. Stop limiting that, man. The U.S. Army is all over the globe. And they don't say, oh, he's a U.S. Army, personnel from Georgia or Mississippi or Tennessee. No, he's a United States soldier, just like he's a rolling 60s soldier, regardless if he's from Georgia, regardless if he's from Timbuktu. He's a rolling 60s soldier, and you protect him under any circumstances and don't turn over his information to his ops because he's not from California, but he is a rolling 60s. Stop it.
Wait. All those years of putting people on in Georgia and spreading the 60s out there, and you don't even respect them as rolling 60s?
Word.
That makes no sense.
None.
That is the dumbest reason to say that you're not rocking with Quando, because he's not from LA and he's from Georgia. That makes no sense. So to all the rolling 60s out there that aren't in LA, see this and understand that the guys in LA do not respect you, so just understand that. And that's not to mention that the guys out of state are probably more active, because in LA they're just squabbling and catching fades and hanging out in front of their $1 million hoods where nothing happens and they talk about how crazy it is. But the point is that Brick Baby did the
I don't
unthinkable
agree with none
and
of
went
that
against
either.
his
Let's
own
get that
flag
for the
for his
record.
millionaire friend, going against everything he's ever said he stood for. And that just shows you the true character of Brick Baby, just grimy and slimy.
You really from the trenches and you showing love, cause we not gonna get on your ass. You get what I'm saying? Cause you got it like how we got it. Cause you got it like how we got it. Cause you got it like how we got it. It's these pretending ass niggas. You don't have a hood that you taking care of. You're not from the hood. 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 You're not from the hood.
So now that we know where Brick Baby stands, let's focus back on the beef between Lil Durk and Quando. From all accounts, Quando and the Savannah Rolling 60s never wanted beef with Vaughn and really never wanted this to happen at all. And despite the fact that all Lil Tim did was defend his friend, Lil Durk still wants get back for Vaughn. Well, given that Durk lives in Atlanta and Quando and his boys are only a few hours away, you'd think that he'd send a hit to Savannah.
Stop. Stop. Did he just say that right now? I'm trying to process this. And I'm not trying to disrespect anyone, but I'm trying to process it. Bottom line is, you look out for your friend under any circumstances, and he's never wrong until you get him alone one-on-one. Then you tell him, yo, you was wrong, but you know I had to body that dude because I got to hold you down under any circumstances because we all under this banner. But you was wrong. But you don't tell him in front of his comrades he was wrong. They said that all little Tim did was hold down his friend in a civilian world. In the street world, he bodied an op. So it's the op's duty to get they get back. Not saying that's what Lil Durk did. Let's get that off the table because I know we got the rat bastards that's in here. But it don't matter. I don't care if my comrade is wrong and he deserves to, in our book, I'm rolling with my comrade. And that's it. All right?
But because Quando and his boys would have home field advantage, and it's the South where everyone's packing heat, it's not necessarily an easy hit. But instead, Durk waits patiently for them to go to a particular city, a city where he knows he can get them gone. This, of course, would be the city of Los Angeles, which for 3 reasons would be the perfect place for him to do it. If Quando and his boys are in LA, they have no home field advantage. In fact, they probably don't know where they are at any time. And secondly, they won't be strapped, because the laws in California make it pretty much impossible to do so. And the third reason? None other than Brick Baby. As we know, Brick Baby is the king of hawking down rappers as soon as they touch down in the city. And not only can he give you Quando's exact location, but he can also supply you with what you need. You know, them days. Well, from what the FBI states, Lil Durk waits patiently for Quando and his boys to go to LA.
Stop. You see the way they said that he even give, guys coming in from out of state because they check in weapons. You never give weapons to the ops. Someone coming from out of state to Harlem, I can't arm them to defend themselves against even my ops in New York. Because New York's supposed to stick together. So you don't arm the ops. But now, if he's saying that Quando is a rolling 60s, by all means, yes, you can give it to Quando. But to give it to Lil Durk or give little information to Durk to catch Quando off guard, ultimate. Shit. And that hurts me to my heart.
And that day would finally come, nearly 2 years after the demise of Vaughn, August 18th, 2022. It's a regular morning like any other when Lil Durk gets a call from an unknown source informing him of Quando's presence in LA. This is the opportunity he's been waiting for, so he seizes it and he quickly calls an OTF member by the name of Vonnie. OTF Vonnie, whose real name is Kevon Grant, is a certified stepper from Detroit who's known for getting things done. So as soon as Durk gets the information on Quando, he calls up Vonnie and has him fly on his private jet to come meet him. So according to investigators from here, Durk and Vonnie have a meeting where they discuss what needs to be done. And because of Vonnie's reputation for allegedly getting people slumped, he's tasked with handling all the logistics. This includes booking flights, hotel rooms, rental cars, and basically handling everything that needs to be done. So as soon as the meeting wraps up, Vonnie immediately gets to planning. First, he gets in contact with 4 reputed OTF
Allegedly.
steppers handpicked by him. These would be DeAndre Wilson, also known as Didi, Keith Jones, also known as Flocka, David Lindsay, also known as Brown Eyes, and Asa Houston, also known as Boogie.
Allegedly.
He informs them of the mission at hand and tells them to immediately get ready.
Allegedly.
Then he makes a massive mistake. Using OTF credit cards, he books them red-eye flights to Los Angeles.
Allegedly.
Coincidentally, just minutes after doing this, Durk texts him,
"Hey, don't book no flights under my name or anything that has to do with me."
Allegedly.
Too late, buddy.
Not only did he already use the OTF card to get them flights, but he also got them hotel rooms as well. On top of this, one of the hitters DMs his girl on Instagram and lets her know that he's on his way to Los Angeles.
Allegedly.
Regardless, this doesn't stop anything, and the 4 OTF hitters head to the airport for their midnight flight.
Allegedly.
Okay, so now that all the travel is handled, Vonnie hops on a private jet headed to Los Angeles.
Allegedly. That's all I gotta say.
He touches down in the early morning, and now it's time for him to get everything together.
Allegedly.
August 19th, 2022, 7 a.m. Vonnie takes an Uber to a luxury car rental and gets a BMW M5 and an Infiniti G37. He then wipes them down
Allegedly.
individually and takes them to get tinted. While waiting for the cars, he takes an Uber to Big 5 Sporting Goods where he buys 4 ski masks and 4 pairs of gloves. Oh, and not to
Allegedly.
mention, he again uses the OTF credit card.
Allegedly.
Well, once he leaves the sporting goods store, there's only 2 things left for him to do.
Allegedly.
First, he needs some blicks. And secondly, he needs to find out exactly where Quando Rondo is.
Allegedly.
And here is where 2 new mystery men come into the picture.
Allegedly.
Known to the FBI as Co-Conspirator 2 and Co-Conspirator 4.
Allegedly.
Well, after the rental cars are ready, Vonnie meets up with Co-Conspirator 2. And
Allegedly.
when they meet up, number 2 hands him a duffel bag full of
Allegedly.
So they go their separate ways, and Vonnie now meets up with number 4. Together
Allegedly.
they go over strategy, and number 4 tells him to follow him. He'll take him exactly to Quando's location.
Allegedly.
Ooh-wee, it's really about to happen. And now they go to the hotel to pick up the rest of the hitters.
Allegedly. Stop it, man.
From here, Vonnie and the hitters inside the M5 and Infiniti follow number 4 to Quando's location. Aha, there he is. They spot his black Escalade on Melrose Avenue. Then number 4 messages them and tells them that that is in fact Quando's car. Now he vanishes off in
Allegedly.
the distance and allows the OTF hitters to do what they do. They're now tracking the black Escalade down Melrose, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike. Well, after a few minutes of following, the black Escalade busts a right on Beverly Boulevard and pulls over to get some gas. Oh yeah, now it's the perfect time.
Allegedly.
They head up an alley next to the gas station, park their cars, and get out on foot. They then run into the gas station and absolutely light up the Escalade.
Allegedly.
After emptying over 100 shots, they run back to their cars
Allegedly.
and vanish off in the distance. Thankfully, Quando Rondo was untouched, but sadly, his best friend wasn't.
Right now, the search is on for 3 people who police say shot at a Savannah rapper, killing a member of his entourage. It happened in Los Angeles, and cameras captured the aftermath. Shots fired, a fight taken to the streets, and this chaotic scene, the ending of a shooting that started in Los Angeles, California. Sheriff's deputies pulling out a man who had been shot
listen
in
how
an
he
SUV.
screamed.
Savannah rapper Quando Rondo, a passenger in that car, frantic at the sight. It all started at this mobile gas station at 5:30 Friday evening. LAPD says witnesses heard multiple gunshots, then watched a couple cars zoom off. 3 people in one car shot at this black Cadillac Escalade. It's unclear if those inside shot back.
Can I get some space, please?
It ended at Santa Monica Boulevard. Deputies found it peppered with bullet holes and a shattered window. One man inside, a member of Rondo's entourage, had been shot. The 23-year-old was taken to the hospital where he died.
They pulled up, they were pumping gas, and it looks like they probably finished pumping gas, and the suspects approached from the alley, got out of the car, and started shooting at those victims.
Shortly after doing this, the OTF members wiped down the rental cars, put their plates back on, and returned them back to the owners. Now here is where things get interesting. After heading to the hotel and changing clothes, the 4 hitters head to Calabasas in an Uber to go to a burger restaurant.
Allegedly.
And there waiting for them is co-conspirator 2, who's there
Allegedly.
to discuss business and who gets paid what. Then once they come to a fair agreement, co-conspirator 2 takes a private jet to Chicago, and the rest of them head down to San Diego.
Allegedly.
This is where they wait for a couple of days, and a trustworthy friend of Durk brings them a whole lot of money. Now this begs an important question.
Allegedly.
Who does Durk trust in California to handle a whole lot of his money? And on top of this, who did he trust to find Quando's location and to supply the weapons? Well, I have
Allegedly.
somebody in mind, and I definitely think he's either co-conspirator 2 or co-conspirator 4. Given everything we know
Allegedly.
about Brick
Hold
Baby's
up.
history in the streets, his
Hold up.
dislike for Quando...
Hold up. I heard certain things that Brick Baby said that I don't agree with, I don't like, and it's sicking me to my stomach. Like the main one is that you would give someone from your gang location because they're not from the state where you at with your gang or where the gang started. I don't like that. But even with that, I'm not going to sit here and put a bone on Brick Baby in that manner, because the same way I said in the Diddy situation, let it play out before you make a decision, is the same way I'm going to say it with Brick Baby. But Brick Baby, you're not looking good right now, family. My number's on the screen. If you feel I'm saying something wrong, call my number. You want to get on the show, that's on you. You don't, not a problem. Not asking you to get on the show, but you're welcome to speak your mind, because you're innocent to proven guilty and you put in too much work on the streets for YouTube to speculate that you're a rat. Even though a lot of things you did is suspect. A lot of things you said is suspect. But until it all play out, me being the gangster that I am, I'm not going to sit here and jump on a bandwagon and call Brick Baby a rat bastard. I can't do it. My morals and principles and oath to the streets won't allow me to do it. But there's a lot of things he did that I don't like. This video is already over 100, hour and 10 minutes. I'm going to get through this. But, yo, let me get back to this, man.
Rondo and his relationship with Durk, it would only make sense. But not only does it make logical sense, but there's also a whole lot of information out there that will make you think that Brick Baby had something to do with this. So now let's get into the reasons why Brick Baby was certainly involved.
Ooh, here we go.
Reason number 1. Directly after losing his friend, Quando Rondo blames the Rolling 60s. Directly after the incident, he goes on social media and posts this on his story. Basically what he's saying is that he's done with the Rolling 60s, he's putting down his flag because of disloyalty. Now ask yourself, why after this incident would he be upset with his own gang? So much so that he's gonna put his flag down because of disloyalty. Obviously, he knew something the world didn't, that the Rolling 60s had something to do with the death of Lul Pab. And as we know from the indictment, somebody from LA gave up his address, so who else could it possibly be? Who else in Los Angeles would know Quando's exact location other than his own gang who he's supposed to tap in with? And on top of this, which Rolling 60 would be connected to Durk? Obviously Brick Baby. And that's
Allegedly. Even though a lot of the joint look like it's pointing to him and all that, we still must say allegedly, and we don't throw one of our comrades under the bus like that. Unique Mecca Audio not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I don't like a lot of things that was said in this video that he did. You know what I mean? Definitely not defending it. If he did any of those things, that's an ultimate violation. but we're going to let it play out, and we're going to let the Rolling 60s in California deal with Brick Baby, not Unique Mecca Audio on the joint. I'm just speaking on the code and conduct of being on the street anywhere in the world. You don't tell on your comrade, you don't arm your ops, and you don't tell your ops where one of your comrades is at because you feel your ops is your friend or they got the bag. No, not saying that's what Brick Baby did, but if he did, ultimate violation.
Just the first reason why I believe that Brick Baby is co-conspirator 4. And trust me, there's a whole lot of other reasons as well, all coming out of his own mouth. And now we're at reason number 2. Brick Baby hints at it and admits that he was involved. During the period after the incident, nobody was thinking that Lil Durk was involved because it happened in LA and the whole Rolling 60s thing. But that's when Brick Baby goes on No Jumper and reveals to the world that Lul Pab's death was get back for Vaughn.
Oh yeah, slide for Vaughn, right? Yeah. They say you can't say that no more. Why? Oh yeah, because of...
He don't even know why he said that, and they having a whole conversation with the camera rolling to put it out in front of millions of people on YouTube. Yo, y'all need to tighten up over there. No disrespect at No Jumper. No Jumper, this your channel, right? You can't have men come up there and implement other people and say that, oh, I'm just the host. I let them say what they want to say. No, that's why I don't bring too many people up here to be interviewed, because I'm not going to have them run amok on my channel and bring another man in to be convicted or bodied based on what he said on my platform.
Wait, no. Like, who died?
You can't say that no more.
Oh, because of FBG Cash?
Listen to this.
Oh, who?
Nah, because Lil Pab.
Ooh-wee, this is when people started to put 2 and 2 together. Lil Durk had something to do with the death of Lul Pab. And isn't it interesting that one of Durk's closest friends and Rolling 60s member is the one who revealed it? Well, Whack 100 thinks it's very odd as well.
Could kind of turn into something, because if I'm not mistaken, he kind of made a comment like, I guess they can't say OTF didn't slide. There's no getting out of that.
Listen, if he's just a random person, it's whatever, but he's somebody who's got photos with Durk. He's been pictured with all the OTF guys and stuff. It seems like kind of, that was before he even worked for No Jumper. That actually was the interview that made me like, you know what? I'm gonna f with you.
Wait, what? That's why you hired him? Because he snitched on Lil Durk? What? But anyways, let's continue.
Because at the time, OTF was never mentioned.
Right.
He's the first one that made any type of anything that OTF was involved by saying, I guess they can't say they didn't slide for Vaughn no more. It's like...
Well, if this doesn't convince you enough, right after this, Brick Baby would drop a song where he basically incriminates himself. In a song called Not Enough, here's what he says. He was ducking trying to hide, now he in a blunt. We dropped 100 shots, go dig your partner up. Then he says the last one we turned into a pack, we got 1 million plus. And now knowing what we know from the indictment of the co-conspirators getting paid, I mean, you know? But of course on the flip side, he could just be lying about the money, right? Except for the fact that after this, he mysteriously starts living in a Calabasas 4-bedroom mansion. So just a year after getting out of prison for robbing a jewelry store, you're living in a Calabasas mansion. How does that make sense? I mean, No Jumper ain't paying that much, because I promise you Brick Baby's house is worth more than Adam's.
Don't forget, Brick Baby is the rich crip.
Okay, so let's get back on track. The No Jumper interview where he reveals that the Lul Pab situation was get back for Vaughn, that was in February. And strangely, just a couple weeks later in March, the feds start tracking Brick Baby's every move. In fact, they even spy on him for 4 months straight.
To know you was getting followed for 4 months.
It was 4 months?
Hell yeah.
The only thing you told me is that they were following you back and forth from your house to here. And that kind of tripped me out. I'm like, wow, so these fools are just like parked outside sometimes and we just don't even know?
And low grandma van, like soccer vans and shit.
And after 4 months of spying on him, they finally raid his house in the middle of the night. Yep, on June 25th, 2023, his Calabasas mansion was raided and they found an AK-47. Now generally this isn't that serious, but given that he's a 4-time felon, this is no joke. In fact, just like Crip Mac, he was facing up to 15 years in prison. And even though he seemed to wiggle out of serious consequences for every felony he's ever had, this one is a little different because it's the feds. Well, long story short, over the next year, somehow the case just magically disappears. And that really makes you wonder, how does a 4-time felon have such a big case dropped, just like that? Well, actually, the first question is, why was he being spied on and why was he raided in the first place? Does it have anything to do with the murder of Lul Pab, or the fact that he was snitching on himself? Well, Whack 100 seems to think that he snitched to get out of this, and that's why Lil Durk is now indicted.
Brick got an open case. And everybody's watching, Brick. Where are your court dates? Boom! OTF is hit with an indictment.
And even if Brick didn't actually snitch, Whack says that he could be the reason that the feds even look Lil Durk's direction.
Now, you got the people saying, well, this dude's a known gang member. He ran with these people. Okay, well, let's look over there. Maybe they wasn't even thinking about looking over there. But because they heard him say it, they like, let's look into that. Let's just see where it takes us. And they might have looked at one dude, grabbed at one dude from what they heard, and the one dude went bad and fed him everything else. So
okay, so let's now play devil's advocate, right? Let's assume that Brick Baby had nothing to do with the death of Lul Pab and that he's not a snitch. And if that's actually the case, please explain these two reactions. This was his live reaction to receiving the news that the 4 OTF members were indicted.
There, nigga.
Yeah,
this is crazy.
Hang on, wait.
Yeah, that's him.
Wait, was this an attempt or an alleged attempt?
He dead. Yeah,
no, Quando.
Yeah, Lil Pab, his man's is dead. His man's is dead.
Oh, his boy, but
nah,
he didn't get him.
Nah, Quando's fine.
So they got his boy instead.
His boy is dead. Yeah.
But were they alleged to try to get him too?
Yeah, he was there.
So,
but was he the intended target?
That I don't know.
Yeah, see, this is how you need to be when you sit down with Diddy's bodyguard.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, with Biggie's bodyguard.
Good. See, this is good.
This is exactly
I'm getting
the kind
a free
of
lesson here as well.
Yeah. So essentially,
thank you for that, by the way.
1,000.
I appreciate it.
Got you, my buddy. So this dude, Quando Rondo, he's an artist that was affiliated with the dude that had had killed King Von. So, and this was allegedly a retaliation for that.
For sure. 100%. Well, I'm about to say, nah, that's crazy. So the feds charged an indictment with unsealed. It said was unsealed Thursday in the U.S. District Court in Los Angeles. Are Kevon London, DeAndre Wilson, Keith Jones, David Bryan, and Ossie Houston.
I don't know, maybe I'm looking too deeply into it, but he seems nervous. And to make matters even worse, he says that giving up Quando's location for Lil Durk is something that he would actually do.
That's what I don't agree with.
Like, why would you say that?
Then it's people like, you lined up somebody from your hood. Like, listen, I didn't do shit. But at the end of the day, what's wrong with giving my friend the address?
Treason! That's what's wrong.
Oh, this is my boy. He lost his boy. Who did it could be around. 9 times out of 10, had he asked me, I probably would have been coke if he even asked anybody, if this is even true. But 9 times out of 10, like I said, can I leak a bar?
Sure.
I said if he make the call right now, I dig his up in.
Right. What's wrong with getting somebody from your own gang killed because your friend asked you to?
I mean, what's wrong with that?
Like, forget on a moral level. Clearly, this guy has no morals. But on a street level as well, especially in LA, openly admitting to backdooring your own gang for your millionaire buddy is crazy. So you guys tell me what you think. Firstly, do you think Brick was involved in the hit in any way, and was he co-conspirator 2 or co-conspirator 4? And secondly, do you think he's a federal informant that gave up Durk for his own protection? And even if he didn't officially snitch, do you think that his song lyrics and comments on podcasts are the reason that the feds looked into Lil Durk? Well, personally, I'm gonna do everything in my power to make sure that Brick Baby goes to jail for the rest. No, I'm just kidding, I won't do that. But what I will do is hope that you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also, let me know what you want to see next.
Yo. This is crazy. I had to sit here and do this. This video is 1 hour and 20 minutes, man. Almost 125 minutes. Been on here long enough. Instagram is on the screen. Unique Mecca Audio. Follow me. Cash App is on the screen. Hit the icon. Make sure save was created in 2020. Subscribe if you're not subscribed to Unique Mecca Audio. Hit the notification bell and go to go to Mecca Audio TV and subscribe. Go to Mecca Audio TV and subscribe. All right.
Cheers, cheers, toast the crime, toast the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime. Fresh out the can of 26, he back on the strip, getting back in the mix. What he mentions a gift. You stand up 10 toes down, and I suggest you pay attention to this. Take a little gully posse and put it in hall. He cut from the bottom, came up from the bottom. Drop the book, you should go and get it. The Instagram page and the YouTube, you could go and visit. Then you could consider yourself LinkedIn. Sit front row and get Jews from a kingpin. How he went through it, so you ain't gotta go do it. To not pay attention would be stupid. Talking about a man that probably put your grandfather on. Probably the reason that him and your grams got along. A man that generated millions on the block, did his time, never squilling to the cops, Mecca Audio. Get it live like 2 G's in the 90s. Drop top beamer so shiny. I let shorty go, she was wine. Treat her like my past, she behind me. Spend a couple bands on the Dapper Dan. You be back again, getting green like a Packers fan. No cap, it's a roaring uptown. Baby horn uptown, Dominican bust downs. Now we on the positive, we got a lot to give. Now he trying to stop the kids from being inoperative. So take heed, homie, lend an ear. He started in uptown, he gon' finish dead. But now it ain't about selling drugs, buying cars. It's about buying property to make the community ours, so we can give back to the